If you are a woman in your 60s or 70s who has been using castor oil alone for years, believing that consistency would eventually soften wrinkles and restore firmness, there is a truth that almost no one tells you. Castor oil was never meant to work by itself. When used alone, its power quietly stalls, but when paired correctly with the right oil, its effect on collagen and wrinkles can change so dramatically that your skin begins responding again in ways you may not expect. I'm Dr. Eliza Hart, a board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist with over 15 years of experience in women's health and hormonal wellness. And here is the truth behind today's title. For senior women, our oil should not be used alone, because by itself it mainly seals moisture on the surface, while collagen support and wrinkle softening require a lighter partner oil that can move into the upper layers and activate the environment castor oil creates. In this video, I'll show you the pairing options, the ratios, and the safe way to apply them so your skin can respond again. If this helps, please subscribe, comment the country you're watching from, and help me reach my first 50,000 subscribers so I have the motivation to keep building this channel. Please watch to the end because I have a small surprise about this topic, and then we'll start with castor oil's true role. 1. Castor oil works but only in one role. If there is one reason castor oil has remained so popular among senior women for decades, it is because the first time you apply it, you can feel the difference almost immediately as dry, fragile skin becomes softer, calmer, and more comfortable within minutes. That initial relief often creates the belief that deeper repair will naturally follow with time. Yet this is exactly where understanding the true role of castor oil becomes essential rather than discouraging. Castor oil is composed of more than 90% ricinoleic acid, a unique fatty acid that gives it an unusually thick and cushioning texture compared to most plant oils. From a medical perspective, this composition makes castor oil an excellent occlusive meaning. It forms a gentle, breathable seal across the surface of the skin. That seal slows transepidermal water loss, the gradual evaporation of moisture that accelerates as skin ages, thins, and loses its protective lipids. For senior skin, which naturally struggles to retain hydration, this protective function is not optional, but foundational. However, the same characteristic that makes castor oil so effective at sealing moisture is also what limits its role. Ricinoleic acid molecules are relatively large and heavy, so they tend to remain within the outermost layer of the skin, rather than traveling into the deeper zones where collagen fibers are formed and remodeled. As a result, castor oil preserves what already exists, but it does not deliver the lightweight biological signals required to support deeper structural change on its own. Over many years in clinical practice, I have seen senior women blame themselves for results that never arrived, believing they were inconsistent or choosing the wrong product, when in reality they were asking one ingredient to do the work of an entire system. Castor oil prepares the skin beautifully by softening, protecting, and stabilizing the surface environment. Yet preparation alone is not the same as activation, especially when collagen support is the goal. When castor oil is understood as a supportive foundation rather than a complete solution, frustration often gives way to clarity because nothing has failed and nothing needs to be discarded. Expectations become calmer. Patience returns, and the skin is allowed to respond in a way that feels respectful, sustainable, and appropriate for this stage of life, creating space for more thoughtful care and more meaningful results over time. This understanding becomes especially important for senior women because skin at this stage responds best to clarity, simplicity, and methods that work with its natural rhythm rather than forcing change. 2. The core problem in mature skin. Collagen needs more than moisture. One of the quiet misconceptions many senior women carry is the belief that if skin feels dry, then moisture alone must be the missing piece. Yet dryness is often only the surface symptom of a much deeper biological shift happening within mature skin. By the time we reach our 60s and 70s, collagen loss is no longer driven by a single factor, but by a combination of slowed cellular turnover, long-term oxidative stress, and chronic low-grade inflammation that gradually weakens skin structure from the inside out. Collagen is not simply a passive material that fades with age. It is a living protein network that depends on signal circulation and a stable internal environment to maintain itself. When skin matures, those signals become quieter, repair cycles slow down, and the skin's ability to respond to external care changes significantly. This is why adding more moisture alone, even when that moisture is locked in, often fails to create visible improvement in wrinkles or firmness over time. From a medical perspective, hydration creates the conditions for repair, but it does not initiate repair by itself. Moisture keeps enzymes functioning, supports barrier integrity, and reduces mechanical stress on fragile skin. Yet collagen renewal requires additional biochemical cues that reach beyond the surface layer. Without those cues, the skin may feel more comfortable and appear temporarily smoother, while deeper structural decline continues quietly underneath. This distinction becomes especially important for senior women because mature skin prioritizes preservation over regeneration. The body naturally shifts into a protective mode, conserving resources and limiting aggressive cellular activity. In this context, expecting one heavy oil to both protect the surface and stimulate deeper change places an unrealistic burden on a single ingredient, no matter how nourishing it may feel. What truly supports collagen at this stage of life is not intensity, but coordination. The skin needs a supportive outer environment that reduces water loss and irritation, alongside lighter biological messengers capable of moving more freely within the upper layers, where they can interact with receptors involved in inflammation control, barrier repair, and structural maintenance. When these roles are clearly separated and intentionally combined, the skin is no longer confused or overwhelmed, but guided. Understanding this principle often shifts the entire relationship a woman has with her skin, replacing frustration with strategy and urgency with patience. Instead of chasing stronger products or abandoning what once felt helpful, care becomes more precise, more respectful, and more aligned with how mature skin actually functions, setting the stage for combinations that work together rather than compete for attention. 3. Castor oil plus pomegranate seed. Oil collagen protection mode. For many senior women, the most frustrating change in their skin is not dryness alone, but the gradual sense that firmness is quietly slipping away, even when they are careful, consistent, and gentle with their routine. This often happens because long-term collagen loss is driven less by what is missing on the surface and more by what is happening beneath it, particularly chronic low-grade inflammation that weakens skin structure year after year without obvious warning signs. Pomegranate seed oil plays a unique role here because it is rich in punicic acid, a rare omega-5 fatty acid with powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. From a clinical standpoint, this matters deeply for senior skin, as ongoing inflammation accelerates collagen breakdown and interferes with the skin's ability to maintain its supportive framework. Environmental exposure, accumulated sun damage, emotional stress, and even poor sleep all contribute to this silent process, making collagen increasingly fragile over time. When pomegranate seed oil is paired with castor oil, the relationship between the two becomes purposeful rather than redundant. Castor oil establishes a calm, hydrated surface environment by reducing water loss and shielding fragile skin from external stressors, while pomegranate seed oil, with its lighter molecular profile, is better able to move into the upper layers of the skin. There, it delivers anti-inflammatory signals and antioxidant protection that help preserve the collagen that remains, rather than attempting to force aggressive change. This combination is especially well suited for senior women whose skin feels thin, sensitive, or easily irritated because it focuses on protection rather than stimulation. The goal is not to push the skin to behave like it did decades ago, but to help it function optimally within its current biological limits, reducing further breakdown and supporting resilience over time. When collagen is protected, the skin often appears firmer, calmer, and more stable, even if changes happen gradually rather than dramatically. If this approach resonates with you, I'd love to hear how your skin currently feels. So take a moment to comment. If your skin is mostly dry or sensitive, or 0, if it feels more balanced but still fragile. Your response helps me understand who I'm guiding, and it helps other women realize they're not alone in this experience. As we continue, it becomes clear that protection is only one part of the story, and that some skin concerns call for a different kind of support altogether, especially as mature skin becomes less forgiving over time. 4. Castor oil plus rosehip seed oil, gentle regeneration mode. As skin continues to age, one of the most unsettling changes is not just increased fragility, but the way the complexion gradually loses clarity, smoothness, and resilience, even when dryness seems well controlled. This often reflects a deeper slowdown in cellular turnover, a natural shift that occurs as renewal cycles become less efficient and more easily disrupted over time. Rosehip seed oil becomes especially valuable in this context because it offers a gentle form of biological encouragement rather than force. It naturally contains trans-retinoic acid, a plant-derived form of vitamin A, along with linoleic acid and small amounts of vitamin C, all of which support the skin's ability to shed older surface cells and maintain a healthier barrier. Unlike aggressive retinoids, rosehip oil works in a quieter way, making it far more suitable for senior skin that responds poorly to irritation or sudden stimulation. When paired with castor oil, rosehip seed oil is able to work more effectively than it would on its own. Castor oil's occlusive nature creates a stable, hydrated surface that slows evaporation and reduces external stress, allowing rosehip's lighter molecules to remain in contact with the skin long enough to deliver their regenerative signals. This partnership does not attempt to speed the skin up unnaturally, but instead supports a more balanced rhythm of renewal that respects the limitations of mature skin. Clinically, this combination is most appropriate for senior women who notice fine lines becoming more visible, skin tone appearing less even, or texture feeling rough despite consistent care. Over time, supporting cellular turnover can help soften the appearance of surface wrinkles and restore a smoother visual quality, even when deeper structural changes are modest. The improvement often feels subtle at first, yet cumulative, as the skin gradually regains a more even and rested appearance. Importantly, this type of gentle renewal also helps reduce surface congestion, which can make mature skin appear heavier or more tired than it truly is. Because rosehip oil interacts with pathways related to vitamin A, it is best used in the evening when the skin naturally focuses on repair and paired with diligent sun protection during the day. This approach reinforces the idea that change in senior skin is safest when it follows the body's own timing rather than external pressure. And even when surface texture begins to improve, many women still notice that comfort and stability vary from day to day, pointing toward another layer of support that focuses less on renewal and more on how mature skin maintains equilibrium. 5. Castor oil plus jojoba oil, balance and barrier restoration mode. In later life, one of the most overlooked challenges is not visible aging itself, but instability when skin feels comfortable one day and suddenly reactive or depleted the next without an obvious reason. This fluctuation often reflects a weakened ability to self-regulate rather than a simple lack of moisture or nutrients, and it explains why many senior women feel as though their skin has become unpredictable over time. Jojoba oil plays a unique role in restoring this sense of balance because it is not technically an oil, but a liquid wax ester with a molecular structure remarkably similar to the skin's own natural sebum. From a biological perspective, this similarity allows the skin to recognize and integrate jojoba oil with minimal resistance, reducing the likelihood of irritation while supporting the lipid barrier that becomes thinner and less organized with age. Instead of forcing the skin in one direction, jojoba oil helps recalibrate it, encouraging calmer and more consistent behavior. When jojoba oil is paired with castor oil, the relationship becomes complementary rather than competitive. Jojoba oil absorbs efficiently into the upper layers of the skin, strengthening the barrier from within and helping regulate hydration and oil flow more evenly throughout the day. Castor oil then acts as a protective outer layer, cushioning fragile skin and reducing moisture loss without interfering with the skin's natural signals. Clinically, this combination is particularly useful for senior women whose skin reacts easily, feels tight or uncomfortable at unpredictable moments, or struggles to maintain equilibrium despite careful routines. Barrier instability at this stage of life can amplify redness sensitivity and surface discomfort, even when no visible irritation is present. By reinforcing barrier integrity while minimizing disruption, the skin often becomes more tolerant, more comfortable, and less reactive. Overall, even if visible changes appear subtle, over time, improved barrier balance also supports the skin's ability to retain hydration more evenly, reducing the cycle of sudden dryness, followed by heaviness or congestion. This steadier environment allows other supportive elements in a routine to work more predictably rather than being constantly undermined by barrier stress. Daily care then begins to feel simpler rather than more demanding because the skin no longer requires constant correction or rescue. That sense of stability becomes especially valuable later in life when comfort, predictability, and long-term resilience matter just as much as appearance, gently preparing the skin for the final guidance needed to complete a truly supportive routine. 6. How to use these oil blends safely and effectively for senior skin. At this stage of life, results are shaped less by how many products are used and more by how thoughtfully they are applied, because mature skin responds best to consistency restraint and clarity rather than constant adjustment. Even the most well-chosen oil combination can underperform if the method of use works against the skin's natural rhythm. For senior, skin quality and simplicity matter more than variety. Oils should be pure, cold-pressed, and unrefined, stored in dark glass to protect their delicate fatty acids from light and oxidation. These details are not cosmetic preferences, but biological safeguards, because degraded oils can quietly increase oxidative stress on skin that already repairs itself more slowly. Application technique also plays a meaningful role. Oils should be applied to clean skin that is slightly damp, allowing hydration to be sealed rather than replaced. Only a small amount is needed, often just a few drops gently pressed into the skin rather than rubbed aggressively. This method minimizes friction, which is especially important for thinning skin and fragile capillaries common in later years. Frequency deserves equal attention. Senior skin does not benefit from daily oil use simply because a product feels comforting. Beginning with 2 or 3 applications per week allows the skin time to adapt, reducing the risk of congestion or sensitivity. If the skin responds calmly over several weeks, frequency can be adjusted gradually, guided by comfort rather than urgency. Patch testing is essential, not optional. Skin reactivity can change with age, medications, and health conditions, making previous tolerance an unreliable predictor. Testing a small area over 24 to 48 hours provides a simple layer of protection that prevents unnecessary setbacks and supports long-term confidence in the routine. Storage and freshness complete the picture. Oils should be kept in cool, dark places and used within reasonable timeframes, as oxidized oils lose their supportive qualities and may irritate mature skin. Preparing small amounts as needed preserves potency and reduces waste. When these practical steps are followed, oil blends become predictable allies rather than unpredictable variables. Care feels calmer. Reactions become less frequent, and the skin is supported in a way that respects both its strengths and its limitations. This steady approach allows progress to unfold without pressure, creating the stability needed before addressing the final and most important perspective on long-term skin health, where protection, daily habits, and common mistakes quietly determine lasting results, especially in skin that has weathered decades of change. 7. Oils are not magic, and the mistakes that quietly cancel results. One of the most important truths senior women deserve to hear is that oils, no matter how carefully chosen or thoughtfully combined, are not magic solutions, and expecting them to override deeper habits often leads to disappointment rather than improvement. Oils support the skin, but they cannot correct daily patterns that actively undermine collagen and barrier health. The most common mistake is relying on oils while neglecting consistent sun protection. Mature skin becomes thinner and more vulnerable to ultraviolet damage with age, and cumulative exposure remains the single largest driver of visible wrinkles, sagging, and collagen breakdown. Applying nourishing oils without daily sunscreen is comparable to reinforcing a structure while leaving it exposed to constant erosion. Another quiet mistake is believing oils can rebuild collagen in isolation. Collagen is formed from amino acids and depends on adequate protein intake, vitamin C, and overall metabolic support. When these foundations are missing, oils may soften the surface temporarily, but cannot change the deeper architecture of the skin in a lasting way. Overuse is another frequent issue. Applying oils too often or in excessive amounts can overwhelm mature skin, leading to congestion sensitivity or a dull, heavy appearance. Senior skin responds best to moderation, where fewer applications allow the barrier to stabilize rather than fluctuate. Storage and preparation are often overlooked as well. Oils that are exposed to heat, light, or air for prolonged periods can oxidize, losing their supportive properties and increasing oxidative stress instead. Using small, fresh amounts and storing products correctly protects both the oil and the skin. Finally, ignoring the skin signals can quietly reverse progress. Persistent redness, stinging, or discomfort is not a sign of adjustment, but of imbalance. Continuing despite these signs often worsens sensitivity rather than strengthening resilience. When these mistakes are avoided, oils return to their proper role as supportive tools rather than unrealistic promises. Care becomes steadier expectations, more realistic, and results more consistent. This shift in understanding allows senior women to move forward with confidence, knowing that lasting skin health is built through alignment, not shortcuts, and that gentle, informed choices always outperform urgency in the long run. Over time, this perspective also helps reduce the emotional pressure many women place on their appearance, replacing constant correction with calm maintenance, patience, and trust in the body's ability to respond when it is supported wisely and consistently. As we reach the end of this discussion, the most important takeaway is this: mature skin does not need aggressive solutions, and it certainly does not need pressure. It needs clarity, consistency, and care that works with the body rather than against it. Castor oil on its own provides comfort and protection, but when paired correctly, it becomes part of a balanced system that supports collagen barrier health and long-term resilience. Each combination we discussed serves a different purpose, whether it is protection, gentle renewal, or restoring balance. What truly determines success is not how many products you use, but how well your routine respects the natural rhythm of aging skin. Daily sun protection, adequate nutrition, restful sleep, and calm, consistent habits remain the foundation. Oils simply support what those habits make possible. My advice is to simplify, observe, and give your skin time to respond. Changes at this stage of life are subtle, but they are meaningful when they are supported wisely. Aging is not a failure of the body. It is a shift that calls for a more thoughtful approach. If this video brought you clarity or reassurance and you would like to support the growth of this channel, you can choose to donate as a way to help me continue creating calm, science-based content for women after 50. It is never expected, but it truly helps. Before you go, please like this video, share it with someone who may need it, and subscribe to the channel for more guidance. Thank you for being here and for trusting me with your time.